What's good, beautiful people? I got on here because I wanted to challenge some of the beliefs that I know that you hold about yourself and help you remove some of the limitations that I know have been programmed inside of you. One, understand that who you are cannot be defined by what you are. We have an overwhelming desire to define and redefine who we are by the what's in our lives. And it's not necessarily all our doing because it's programmed in us from childhood. And this is what I mean. The question that a child gets asked more than any other question is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And from that moment on, hearing that question over and over and over programs in their mind that they have to be a certain thing, that they have to pick and choose what exactly they want to be, and then find a definition for what that looks like, and then their whole life strive to fit in that box. Putting limitations on yourself is programmed in us. So the what's in our life as we get older become, what do you believe in? What kind of politics do you hold? What is your religion? What is your sexual preference? What kind of job do you have? What kind of car do you drive? What kind of income do you make? What kind of neighborhood do you live in? What are your beliefs on immigration? What is your perspective on this, that, and the other? And these what's are not who we are intrinsically. So it throws us off because by nature, the what's in our lives always are changing, growing, evolving in several different ways. And this is why you often find people backtracking on something that they believed years ago or months ago. And naturally, those things are supposed to change. But we've already put ourselves in boxes. And now, because we're no longer confined by these boxes, it creates confusion in us. Or we feel like we're behind on life because we're not fitting into the boxes or the limitations that we set for ourselves, even in relationships. I think a better question to ask your children instead of what do you want to be when you grow up would be, how do you want to add value to the world? Or find out the things that you see in life, which of these things weigh heavy on you, the problems that you might want to address. Ask them questions that will expand their perspective instead of creating limitations and boxes that they have to fit in. If you're in a relationship or talking to a family member or a friend, instead of saying, what is your definition of love? Ask them, what does love look like to you in this moment? Ask them, who is the person that you're trying to be in the world at this place in your life? You understand what I'm saying? Ask them questions that will provoke thought or help you understand their experiences. Ask them, where were you when you found out that the world wasn't perfect? What kind of experiences have helped shape your views on education? Ask them things that will open up dialogue. A lot of times our differences in opinion become so strong, and it leads us to dissension and war and fighting because the box that you live in conflicts with the box that I live in. And the reality is not to think outside the box. That's not the goal. The goal is not to think outside the box. The goal is to realize there is no box. The goal of this human experience is to understand that who we are is infinite. Who we are is limitless. But in the reality that we live in, and with the society's limitations and limiting beliefs, we shape a lot of things that we believe on information. And information is instant. Information is ever changing. But knowledge is a process. And so I understand that there is a need for general terms and labels like truck or sky or democracy, things like that. I understand we need terms so we can have a general idea and or consensus for certain things. But when you're dealing with human interaction, people don't want to be instantly defined. People don't want you to put a label on them so you can instantly feel like you know everything about them. It is the opposite of our desire to be known, to be explored, to be questioned, to be interacted with. Oftentimes we don't feel like we have to interact or ask questions to a person that we feel like we've already developed an idea about based on what they say they are. If you say you're a Republican, oh, I know you. You're a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist, oh, I know what you believe. Or you're a police officer, oh, I know you already. We have an overwhelming thing in us that constantly seeks for information and to define and redefine that information based on our own personal schemas without taking the time to know that person. So I challenge you in your conversations, in your interactions with your family, friends, your children especially, make sure that we're having conversations that expand our perspective and not limit our thinking. That's it. That's your challenge. Peace, family.